Hi. There's so many people who are concerned about gut health these days, and it's for good reason. Gut health, they call your gut your second brain. You get so many important dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine, B vitamins, K2. There's so many good things that come from a healthy gut lining, but a lot of us are challenged with our gut lining. And one of the ways we can experience that is bloating and gas. So let's talk about an irritated gut. So when your gut lining is the area of a tennis court, a surface area of a tennis court, all folded up. And that gut lining is thinner than a hair. It's one cell thick. So if you don't have proper digestion or something like that, what can happen is it can cause holes in the gut. People call it leaks in the gut. And that food or pathogens or undigested particles can be delivered directly into the bloodstream because the blood is flowing past alongside the gut lining, the intestinal lining, to collect what's supposed to be nutrients. So what we need to do is support two things. The gut lining integrity. And by what I mean by that is, let's say my fingers are, of course, your cells aren't shaped like that, but let's say my fingers are cells and the spaces in between are tight junctions. So we don't want holes in those tight junctions. We want that to have integrity. So this is an amazing product for that. What it is it's basically ionized fulvic acid. It is completely different than fulvic acid. It is not the same thing. The ionization of this is what's key. It tastes like hose water, so it's very easy to drink. On the bottle, it says 1 teaspoon 3 times a day before meals. So what does it do? Well, bottom line is it can truncate the zonulin reaction. So what am I talking about? All right. When you the typical problem constituents are glyphosate and gluten. So what happens is when glyphosate or gluten enters into that, glyphosate is like pesticides that are in conventional food usually. So when that comes into the system and touches that tight junction, it causes a reaction called zonulin. It's like a firecracker. And zonulin is what breaks that open, right? So when you have iron gut health in your system, what happens is that comes in and it short circuits the zonulin reaction. In fact, if I could show you pictures, this actually redoubles its effort to make those strong, tight junctions in the presence of glyphosate. There's actually pictures on the website you can look at. So this is incredible for supporting the tight junctions, right? By the way, a healthy gut lining completely replaces itself every 3 days. Every 3 days. So there's hope if you have an issue. An unhealthy gut lining replaces itself every 10 days. So do what you can to help your gut lining, and it will eventually, be healthier. All right. So there's another issue as far as irritated gut lining. So when a person is at the point of holes in the gut, there's also something else that's missing. Not only is that tight junction now not integritous, but there should be a slimy coating called a mucous membrane lining over the gut lining. It's literally mucus. And it has some huge functions. It's actually the first line of defense as far as pathogens. It has a bunch of things, phagocytes and things like that in there that attack them. So just think about it for a minute. Like when you have a hole in the gut lining, how could there possibly be any mucus there? It's a hole, right? So another issue is supporting a healthy mucous membrane lining. So not only do you have to stop or truncate the zonulin reaction. But this is a great product from Emerald Labs. It's called Leaky Gut Health, and it has amazing things in it. It has things like it has L-glutamine, DGL, slippery elm, marshmallow, aloe, all of those things. Think mucus, think viscosity. It helps lay down that mucous membrane lining that's so important. It's so important. It also has some quercetin for immune support. Very, very nice. So these two together would be one of the first things that you would do, that I would recommend you consider. Support those tight junctions so they're all together, and then deal with the mucous membrane lining. Very, very nice products, a tag team here. By the way, Ion Gut Health has the same thing for your pets. So if you have a dog or a kitty that have some issues, look into this, some gut issues. All right, a lot of people say, oh, but I take a probiotic. And it is true. If you go into a fruitful yield and you go in and you ask the associate, you say, oh, I have some issues with gas and bloating. The very first thing they're going to say is, oh, let me show you some probiotics. Well, so the thing is, some people report back to me and say, well, I take a probiotic and it doesn't seem to be doing anything. Well, when you have holes in the gut lining and not much mucous membrane lining, mucus there, where does the probiotic live? There's no home for it, right? So preparing that home is really, really good. So one of my favorite probiotics to recommend is Dr. O'Hara's probiotics. Now this is very unique. It has pre, pro, and postbiotics. So think of the prebiotics. Let's say you're in a garden. The prebiotics is like the dirt, right? Prebiotics, it's the soil they live in. In this case, in my talk, it would be like the mucous membrane lining. Okay, prebiotics. Then you have the probiotics. The probiotics are like the plants that you put in the dirt, right? And then the postbiotics are the fruit of the plant, like beans or pears or tomatoes. You get something from that plant. In our gut lining, those fruits are things like serotonin, dopamine, K2, MK7, a bunch of B vitamins, a bunch of other, melatonin, sleep, right? So what is this? Why is this different? So most probiotics are sold in billions, right? 25 billion, 50 billion. This is only 300 million probiotics, but it's 500, I am not stuttering, 500 postbiotics, 500 postbiotics. So this, when you're taking probiotics, it's like instead of casting grass seed to get a lawn, you lay down sod. This is ready to go. You take it and it just starts acting right away. It gives you benefits right away. Now, just to let you know a little bit more about this, I tell you, this is one of the best ones we have in the store. It was actually formulated by a Japanese microbiologist. He was also a monk. His name was Dr. O'Hara. And how they make this is they put a bunch of foods, different, very carefully selected foods and probiotics in a vat. And that vat is stirred for 3 years. 3 years. This takes 3 years to make. And they play classical music the entire time. So they're very happy pro and postbiotics. So these two to get the gut lining going, and as the gut lining is preparing itself, just throw some probiotics in there that are already ready to go, right? And then my other favorite is Just Thrive Probiotics and Antioxidant. It actually says antioxidant on the front. Now, this is something called a spore probiotic. This is more like a gardener. So let's say you've done this for a few months, and then you just want to kind of feel like you want to clean things up and tidy things up. This probiotic goes in and supports the healthy bacteria that's in your gut lining and discourages, like literally discourages the bad bacteria. So it's a gardener for the microbiome. Now, we were talking about leaks in the gut a minute ago. So Just Thrive Probiotics, I love this. Just Thrive Probiotics did a study a few years ago at the University of Illinois Champaign-Urbana. They tested college students, and they had to have tested as having leaks in the gut. That was a priority. That was the standard. They, of course, had the placebo and the regular group. The only requirement for the people who were in that study was to take one a day. They did not have to change anything about their college life. At the end of the study, 80% of them no longer had leaks in the gut, and only changed. I mean, they didn't stop doing whatever college students do, staying up late at night, etc. Yeah, this stuff is great. So as far as gut health, these are some of the most basic, let's go rah-rah team that you could do to support your gut health. Please watch for our probiotics talk. That will also help explain a little bit more. But as far as gut health, you've got the basics. Go take care of yourself. You can find all of this on our Fruitfolio website and in store. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great day.